Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of World Builders Nexus. Today, we will be continuing our discussion on Western Eratsael and building more on the lore, atmosphere, and themes of the West. If you are new, allow me to introduce you to the series as well as Eratsael. World Builders Nexus is a writing blog aimed at creating a new campaign setting for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons or any other system that you would prefer to play in. The world of Eratsael is the campaign setting that is set within a small universe including worlds for celestials, fiends, and elementals. But for now we are focusing on the region of Western Eratsael and the feudal kingdoms of the North, the Riverlands, the Hold, and the Gale, all of which are under House Viserys. The lands of Western Eratsael are home to the humans as well as the northern races, including dwarves, giants, gnomes, and furbolgs, and it has a rich and diverse history that I hope you will join us in creating. But without further ado, let's get into what we have been writing this week. So this week we are going to be continuing our discussion of Oxguard, if only briefly, and mostly talking about the North and House Hursdt. We are going to begin this discussion by talking about one of the governing members of the village of Oxguard, a man named Olin Hursdt. So Olin Hursdt was the firstborn son of Lord Anders Hursdt and Lady Frida Hursdt, and they are the Lord and Lady of the North. They're the governing family of House Hursdt and the entire North. And Olin Hursdt is a son who was born before they were married, and so the Temple of Solomon deemed him unfit for lordship when he was just a very, very young baby. While House Hursdt was very angered, they honored the organization and they sent their son to live in the village of Oxguard, where he would live as an official within the town. And Olin Hursdt works alongside Lady Hera Rykar, who we talked about last week, and Darren Coresmith. We'll talk about him more in the future. But they govern Oxguard more or less. They kind of make all the major decisions for the village. The way I'd imagine a village government running is very much like a town hall style situation. All of the members of the town meet together where the three sort of governing officials talk things through with the people living in the town and they make decisions together. The three governing members aren't really like on the same level as kings and queens. They're just kind of they help guide the village along the best path possible. So as far as any story for Olin Hursdt goes, I'm thinking something along the lines of like how he would be some sort of heir to the North that people could get behind should something ever happen to the current Lord and Lady of the North. But, you know, there's still a lot of time to think about that, and I don't want to cement anything yet, but I'm thinking about sending him on some mission to claim the North for himself. So Olin Hursdt is going to be introducing to our players the North, House Hursdt, all of that history and backstory, which is what I'm going to spend the rest of this video sort of talking about. Remember that this is all very introductory. These aren't the, finalized versions of anything. So I just want to make that clear. We are going to discuss what I have sort of outlined for the North, but nothing is set in stone yet. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get into it. So, to begin with the North, we can separate it into two major factions. You've got the Northerners that live above land, that's going to be House Hursdt, and the mostly humans, but also some dwarves and other northern races, including Goliath, gnomes, some hobbits live in the North. But then you have the Undernorth, and that's going to be a massive cavern that exists underneath the North. Think a lot like the Underdark in, the Forgotten Realms. But that's going to be where all the non-human northern races live. So all of your dwarves are going to live down there. You're going to have halflings, you're going to have furbolgs, you're going to have Goliath. But the Undernorth is run by the dwarves. All the governments are dwarvish. But anyways, beginning with the above ground. So the North currently is run by House Hursdt out of Yggdrasil, but long before feudalism ever existed in Eratsael, it was run by this sort of tribal nomadic family known as the Hurschts, and that family sort of got splintered during the early feudalism and this sort of dividing of the land, and it became House Hursdt and House Hastur. We've talked about House Hastur. House Hursdt is an old family. It goes all the way back to all of that, and they're known for their honor and their loyalty to whatever their cause is. And they have a small military, but currently in the current politics of Eratsael, they're sort of in between the Riverlands and the Undernorth in this sort of uneasy peace agreement that they have. And that sort of leads us into the Undernorth, which, like I said, is run by dwarves, but a lot of races live down there. I call them the northern races. This is going to include furbolgs, gnomes, halflings, a bunch of other races. I'll list them out on the screen, but, while these races are native to the Undernorth, that's not necessarily where they only live. You might find some of these in cities across all of Eratsael. So the Undernorth is super important to the political structure of Western Eratsael because it gets a lot of the gold and platinum and silver and all of the precious metals. House Hursdt gets a lot too, but not anywhere near the Undernorth. But the Undernorth does not consider themselves part of the Western Kingdoms of Eratsael. They consider themselves allies with House Hursdt and allies with the Western Kingdoms, but they do not consider themselves part of it. And this goes back to a peace agreement made a long time ago. But House Hursdt is definitely caught in the middle of it. They are sort of the peace brokers between these two entities, the Riverlands and House Viseri, and the Undernorth with the dwarves. And the races of the Undernorth are very, very stubborn. As of right now, I haven't written a whole lot on the North. I have a lot in my head, but I just haven't written it all down yet. We are, after the village of Oxgard, we are going to zoom out and focus on the 4 major kingdoms of the West and sort of deal with their economics, their politics, what the current situation is, all of that stuff, as well as history. So for now, that's about all I've got on the North. Hopefully it gives you a decent idea of what's going on up there. But yeah, sorry for the short episode this week. I am going to be putting out another episode very shortly after this one. That's going to be about the Winter Blight. It's not related to Oxgard at all. It's just going to be a historical piece on Eratsael, because I am going to do a little mini-series campaign for a couple of friends, and so I need to build a lore on that and all of that. But if you guys enjoyed, make sure to go back and check out some of the other videos. There's a lot of world building and all of those. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more. And yeah, have a good one.